Now, disclaimer, I am not what you would call a minimalist. I don't know that I would go so far as to say that I'm a maximalist, but I definitely like to use lots of different things, and I don't always like to be weighed down by only having a few choices. I know that's not true for everybody. I know that having a limited palette can be very beneficial. So if you only have a few supplies, you are definitely going to rock this challenge. I just wanted to preface this with, you don't need to use everything that I'm using. Even if you have different supplies, that's okay. Hello, my friends! This is an updated video to chat really quickly about supplies. Now, I am mainly creating this video to prepare anybody who wants to join me for my free 10-day Painting the Wilderness challenge, the upcoming round, which is coming in just a couple weeks, called Painting the Wilderness World of Color. I'm really excited for this. This is round 3 of my Painting the Wilderness challenge. If you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely check the notes below. You'll find links to the previous 2 challenges as well. But basically, it's just 10 days of free watercolor tutorials, and who's gonna say no to that? Not me. So this video is to prepare you for the challenge, to show you what I'm going to be using. I just wanted to preface this with, you don't need to use everything that I'm using. Even if you have different supplies, that's okay. Even if your projects look different from mine, that's the point. That's the whole idea, is you're not trying to copy me necessarily. I'm teaching you some steps to paint some really beautiful scenes, but ultimately, your results are going to be completely unique to you. And so if you don't have the exact colors or the exact brands I'm using, totally fine. But if you want to know the exact colors and brands that I may or may not use, probably will use, all of those are also linked below, and I'm just super excited to share with you. So let's dive in. Let's look at paper first. So you can use lots of different kinds of paper. If you want to go for mini versions of what I'm doing, these Legion Stonehenge Aqua little mini paper pads are really fun. So this is cold press, 140 pound. It's 100% cotton, so all these are professional grade papers. And then this is the heavy version, which is 600 pound, 300 GSM, which is really fun for a lot of washes. So those are the Legion mini pads. This is a Les Cargo Papier upcycled watercolor notebook. So basically it's like a journal that this bookbinder filled with Arches paper, which is actually pronounced Arche, interestingly enough. I'm not French, so I didn't know that. Anyway, I really, really love upcycled watercolor journals like this filled with professional grade watercolor paper. I think they're really fun. If you want to go for the new spiral bound Arche notebook, these ones are super cool, and they're landscape orientation, which is, good for painting landscape, so that's a good option. The Etcher notebooks, this is a portrait orientation, but I also like the landscape ones. Etcher ones, I used Etcher for the last one. I really like it. I like Etcher a lot especially for travel painting, because the paper dries a little faster, just as an FYI. And then if you want to paint larger, you could get a 9x12 block. This is Stonehenge Aqua Cold Press again, but it's heavy. So it's, again, the 300 pound, 600 GSM paper, really excellent for lots of layers, lots of washes. That's a fun block to use. For the challenge this time around, I am using this upcycled watercolor notebook. I think it's gonna be super cool. So let's take a look at some paint. Bear in mind, I am not a watercolor paint minimalist. I see the benefit of having a limited palette, and also I have a difficult time choosing often. So I'm gonna give you some options if you want just a limited palette, and then I'm gonna show you some colors that I might use or I might not. So this is Opera Rose, Winsor & Newton, and Scarlet Lake, Winsor & Newton, and Lemon Yellow Deep, Winsor & Newton. All of the silver tubes like that are Winsor & Newton. This is quinacridone gold. I've recently discovered a love for quinacridone gold. I really love it as a warm yellow. This is indigo, Winsor & Newton, which is, I usually use Payne's Gray, but indigo is a little bluer. Idanthine blue is a really fun, warm blue. And then for just to kind of round it out, I have been using sap green a lot recently. as opposed to like Hooker's Green or Viridian. So those 7 colors, oh, actually also Galaxy Black. Schminky super granulating colors are so fun, and I love Galaxy Black because it's basically like a granulating Payne's Gray. So those 8 colors I would use for like a limited palette for this challenge. And then if you want to, these are some of the other colors that I might use. Gold ochre is kind of like yellow ochre, but more vibrant. And then cerulean blue, specifically M. Graham. Verditer blue by Holbein. This is cobalt blue from Daniel Smith. And I also have Hooker's Green, which is a pretty classic from Daniel Smith, and tallow turquoise, I love especially for painting water. This is Jadeite Genuine, which is a granulating green, kind of like a dark green. Greenish umber is very similar to like Perylene green, like dark green with some brown undertones. Burnt sienna is a warm brown that I like to use. And then this is random gray, which is a recent find, a recent recommendation that I've received from Schminky, which is basically a bunch of leftover pigment from the year. So, you know, like I said, use this. This is a challenge all about colorful things like vibrant colors. But use what you have. You don't have to use exactly what I'm using. I also like to have a pan full of like Payne's Gray. This is, I think, Daniel Smith Payne's Gray in there, so it's a darker. It's not as blue as other Payne's Grays. It's more gray. Anyway, so you don't have to use the same brands that I'm using, but if you want to know what I'm using, there you go. So here are some paintbrushes. I always have a round number 2, a round number 6, a round number 10, and then a round number 16 is off to that side. Sometimes I use a round number 12 also, but because the paper that I'm using is a little on the small side, like 5x7, a round number 12 isn't going to be super necessary. So the 16 and the 10 are Princeton Neptune, which is synthetic squirrel, and the 2 and the 6 are Princeton Heritage, which is synthetic sable. So all very affordable brushes. And then if you want a non-US brand, Da Vinci is really great. This is Da Vinci Cassiano. It's synthetic, and I really love the softness of the bristles. So that was a size 8, and then here's a flat also size 8. I love how soft these bristles are. I might use a flat brush during this challenge. I'm not sure, but I just wanted to point it out just in case. So next up, I am looking around for the other supplies that I'm using. I'm filming this voiceover afterwards. So anyway, here's the terry cloth towel that I like to use. Instead of a paper towel, like a tea towel or a wash rag or something that you can wash is always a good idea. I also use binder clips and tape. This is Holbein soft tape, especially when I'm using a journal, so that I can tape down the sides and then bind the sides so that I can get it really taut. Then a pencil and an eraser. This is a Blackwing Natural pencil. I really like it for sketching. And then the eraser is just a typical like Pentel eraser. But I also like to use a kneaded eraser, which is like it looks like putty basically. And this one is from Faber-Castell. You can kind of roll it across your sketches and it will lift a lot of the pencil sketch. So it will still leave the sketch, but lift it so it's lighter. Super handy, especially if you're sketching really complicated things. And then, I love using ceramic palettes. I think that they are superior to plastic palettes in every way. And I have a list of all of my favorites. So it doesn't really matter. There are so many different brands. You can purchase handmade, which is what I like to do, but you can also purchase porcelain or ceramic palettes that are, like factory made, that are maybe a little bit less expensive. I also have 2 cups of clean water. I have them in ceramic jars, but you could also do glass jars or mugs. Something with a heavy cup would work really well. Then this is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. It's my choice for white gouache or opaque paint that is also water soluble and that is activated by water. A lot of people ask me if Dr. P.H. Martin's is gouache, and according to the ingredients, it is. And then I also use an embossing heat tool. This is Ranger brand, their heated craft tool. It's not a hair dryer, but you can use a hair dryer if you want, just to dry layers in between. And that about wraps it up for supplies for this challenge.